So right behind me is a beautiful lush field, but it wasn't always that way. Back in the 1820s, right behind me used to be a Seminole War fort site that once sat in this field. And nowadays it's gone, it's over 200 years old. But today we got permission to swing some metal detectors through and see what kind of artifacts the Union soldiers left behind. The fort used to set right here on this little intersection, and the first thing I got is this little piece of melted lead. Now, when soldiers got bored, a lot of the times they would melt down bullets and cast them into cool shapes or carve them up. So this is probably left behind by a soldier who would have been stationed at this fort in the 1820s. I just found something absolutely insane. Right behind me is this big old oak tree. And the fort used to sit right here. And check this out. Ooh. That's a freaking musket ball. Look at that. This is one of my first musket balls. Oh my gosh. No way. Let's go get some more. You can hear all the nails in here. This is exactly where the fort used to stand. There's just nails everywhere. And my next find is a little piece of brass. I'm not sure what this is off of. It could be off of a buckle or something. But that is an old piece of brass, definitely from the fort. I just popped something out of the hole right next to where I got that musket ball. It's a freaking V-nickel. You ready to say the date? 1902.
Wow.
1902 V-nickel. Let's go get some more. I just pulled something else amazing right next to the two spots. Dude, look at that. That is a freaking Seminole War cuff button. That would have gone on a soldier's cuff. You can see the little eagle right there. No way. I found it like 10 feet from the last two things I've gotten. What? Oh my gosh. Thanks, man. Another find in, and that is a buckle. That is a soldier's buckle. Whether or not this is shoe or like a satchel buckle, I don't know. But that is definitely an old soldier's buckle. Look at that old brass frame. This would have gone on a bandolier or like a buckle or something. Probably for ammo, more than likely. Not sure what this is, but I found it right next to that buckle. And this is some sort of piece of brass or pewter or something. Could be another buckle frame. Made it to the other side of the lake. Haven't found a whole lot so far, but we're still kind of working our way around and figuring out the landscape because it is a little bit tricky. There's a lot of mud and trash on this side. There's an old house site right here. So there's a bunch of trash and like iron and stuff. So we're kind of sticking to this part. So Tate's saying that he found some flakes. Now the Seminole Native Americans were here, and I'm guessing they were making tools and stuff. And so he's finding the production flakes from when they used to make knives and arrows and such. And apparently right along here, I'm guessing the Seminoles would have drank out of this little pond right here. And there's probably tools and stuff all along here. So I'm gonna look a little bit. Maybe I might find something. So here's some of the production flakes Tate has found so far. And these were all going to make arrows and weapons. I don't think these were used to fight the Americans. However, these are definitely extremely old, probably thousands of years. I just found one of my own right here. There's a bunch of them. Look at all these. There are flakes galore right here. This must have been a little Seminole camp, I'm guessing. Oh, right there, I got a big flake, I'm pretty sure. If I can get it out.
That's old milk glass.
Never mind, that's a piece of like toilet tank lid. There's a little flake. That is a nice production flake. They're all over here, wow. The Seminole people took extremely great care of their tools, so we're not likely gonna find any actual complete tools because they wouldn't have just left any behind. But there is a chance, there's a slight chance to find a broken piece, but even then, they tended to repurpose stuff when they broke rather than just leaving them in the grass. That is definitely a fort artifact right there. That is an old broken knife. I don't think that's like a knife that they would have used to eat. So the fort would have been right back there, and I'm about 100 feet in front of where the walls would have been. So perhaps a soldier brought this out with him at some point and he dropped it. But that is 100% an old butter knife or steak knife, and it's still sharp. 100 or actually 200 years later, that thing is still sharp. The handle would have been right back here. You can see where that is. The tang would have been here. That's the actual inside. That would have been underneath the sheath or the handle, and the blade would have come out to here. That is really nice, cool artifact. So I'm digging in front of the fort, and I just got another musket ball. I found the other one right up there, and right down here. Can you see it? That little ball right at the tip of my finger. It's kind of hard to see, but that's gonna be another musket ball. Here, if I can get this thing out. Time for the big reveal. Boom. Musket ball part 2, baby. Check that out. I think that might be a plate off of a musket. That could have been, I think it's a gun part. It looks to be some sort of iron gun part, but you can see the pitting on it. This thing is old. That's definitely from the fort. I just got this piece of brass, and I think that might be another gun piece. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like a tag that would have gone on something. It's really old. I think that's going to be Seminole War. I'm super skeptical about everything because I'm not super versed on war stuff. This is my first time metal detecting a battlefield. This is awesome. So the Seminole War Fort would have been right here, right behind this giant oak tree, kind of in the middle of this road going right here. And it would have been massive, probably the size of about a city block. And they would have had towers, I think 4 towers, one on each side, kind of like a castle, except it was made of wood instead of stone. And it would have looked out into all directions. And I'm guessing the Seminole Native Americans came from here to attack. And they would have been fired upon by the defending towers. And that's why there's all these musket balls out in this field, because there were people shooting here. That is really cool. It's very eerie to just feel the fact that somebody, people died right where I'm standing. It's a very humbling feeling. Check it out. I found this cool house site. And you can tell it was a house site because all the brick and glass everywhere. There's just tons of this old brick and glass. And looking through it, I just found this. And it doesn't look like much, but this is the top of an old wine bottle from around the 1850s to 1840s. That is very, very old. Look at that applied lip on the inside and look how thick it is. That is an incredibly old wine bottle top. The 1800s house site is right up in those woods right there. And right here, I just found what I thought was a copper coin, but no, it's a Sacagawea dollar from, I think, probably the 2000s. It's not super old, but I just made myself a dollar. Well, someone had a bad day. There's a pair of, I think it's earrings. Dang, those things look expensive too. There's no way. I just found that little earring right there. And I was digging a hole right here and noticed something shine out of the corner of my eye. That's a gem. That is a gem off of someone's ring or something. It looks like a jade or an emerald or something. That's neat. It's just sitting on top of the grass here. I don't know how I saw that. Another interesting find in, that is somebody's pendant. It looks like it would have had a photo in it at one point. It's gold-plated frame. I don't think it's super old, probably 1950s, but definitely an interesting find. So the fort was right at the end of this road, and we've been metal detecting this field here. And let me show you guys what I just got. Right over here, I had to go grab my camera. I pulled this out. It's a buckle, it looks like. Could be a shoe buckle or a satchel buckle, but this is definitely 1820s Seminole War. So we're back up in the woods of the property now, and there were encampments up here for both the Seminoles and the American soldiers. And we're walking around and swinging the detectors through. And I just got this. Now this is a stone that would have been used to hold down a tent or prop up like a little wooden fort or something. This would have been a foundation stone. Looks like there's another one right here. Yeah, there's another. Oh, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of little foundation stones right here. Yeah, there was something significant right here. And there's a bunch of iron and nails that we're getting. So I'm guessing this was an American outpost at one point. So let's see if we can find anything. So I just dug this. We're still digging that little outpost behind me. And this doesn't look like much. It's kind of looks like the top of a can because it is the top of a can. But this is the top of an American ration can. This would have been a can of food given to soldiers who were stationed here. This is well over 150 years old. It would have had a lead seal that would have gone in the center of it to keep it airtight. It was incredible how they made these things. But anyway, that's an artifact for sure. We're going to take that with us. Let's find some more. All right, got my first relic in this field. I think it's a squished musket ball. It looks like a musket ball that hit something or something along that lines. It's a melted musket ball. A lot of the time soldiers got bored and they'd melt down their ammunition for fun. And that kind of is what this looks like. It looks like a melted down musket ball. Look at this. You guys know what this is? It is half of a horseshoe, probably from a cavalry regiment that either the Seminoles or the U.S. soldiers would have ridden into battle. So this is a shoe that was lost or changed at a camp. They would get to camp and they would change the shoes off their horse. Both sides would. So I think this is actually a changed shoe. But yeah, you can still see the nails in there. That is old. Another find in. It was super deep and it was showing up like a coin. And I pulled it out. Another big old musket ball. That's the third one of the day. That is crazy. I'm shaking a little bit. That's awesome. All right. I literally just got that musket ball 5 feet behind me. That is an Eagle infantry button from the Seminole War. Oh my gosh. I literally thought it was going to be a bullet shell because the hunting stand is right there. And I'm like, oh, it's got to be a bullet shell. It's showing up like a 60. Nope. That is a 200-year-old military button. How cool is that? Still digging in the woods here. And I just got the back of a button. I believe that is the back of a 2-piece button. That's a Seminole War button. That's just the back part, not the actual front facing. The shank would have gone through that little hole, the part that would have attached to your clothing. So this is just the back, and you can see the writing on it. I'm going to decipher that. I'm killing it on the weird metal today. Here's a little fragment of brass. I'm not sure what it's off of. Probably a pouch or something, I don't know. I can't believe what I just found. I'm in shock, I'm shaking. I can't believe what I just found. So we're digging this Seminole War battleground here, and we've been pulling out buttons and musket balls all day. And look what I just pulled up. That is a rolled Seminole arrowhead made of brass. This would have been on one of the early Seminole soldiers who wasn't issued a rifle. They would have been issued arrows. And this is traded brass or copper that was rolled into an arrowhead, put on the end of an arrow, and shot at American soldiers. I've never found or even seen one of these, but I've heard of them. There is no way. You can see the rolled brass. It would have been rolled on an arrow. It looks like it hit something. It's kind of bent out of shape. That's insane. That's one of the coolest things and this historical things I've ever found.
I thought he found a real.
The Seminole warriors during the first Seminole War were issued bows and arrows with actual like metal tips and stuff. But as the war progressed, they got their hands on muskets, like black powder muskets and stuff that were traded by like other colonists and stuff here in Florida. I just found this, and I'm not 100% sure what it is, but it's a piece of rolled up copper. That might be another Seminole War, or a Seminole tool of some sort, another spear or something. But I found it right next to where I found the arrowhead, so it could be something like that. Fourth musket ball of the dig. Wow, that one was kind of shallow too, just about 4 inches deep. This huge tree here is fallen over. You can see it's been over for a while, and I decided to swing underneath it, and I got this. That is going to be a military satchel buckle used for like an ammunition sack or something an officer would have carried or a soldier would have carried on him. That's freaking insane. Look at that. Do you guys know what that is? That is a plantation hoe. This is basically a hoe, or like an agricultural hoe, that would have been used to till the ground by likely an enslaved person. I'm guessing this place may have been plantation back in the day. What? That is old. You can see the screws right here where the blade would have been attached, and the blade would have come out to here, and it would have been a nice square blade used for tilling the ground. That is an unfortunate slave artifact. Nice. Another musket ball, like sixth one of the day. This is a fragment of harmonica reed. Basically, this is the reed that would have gone on the insert of a musical harmonica. These were super popular in like the mid 1800s to the early 1900s. Everyone had a harmonica on them and lost a lot of reeds. People would carry a couple reeds on them at a time in just case they needed to change one. So these are super common at old house sites. We are absolutely on fire today. There's a little Seminole War infantry button with a little eye right there in the middle of the eagle. And I just dug this. It doesn't look like much, but this is a piece of a musket barrel. This is the iron ring that would have held a barrel onto like the wooden frame. So you can see how it's indented up here. The barrel would have come here, and right down here would have been the wood. And there should be like a little hole right here where it would have drilled into the wood. And this would have been one of the rings to the barrel, or like to a musket. How cool is that? I've never found that. It's a little musket piece. This is some lead art. A soldier hammered or melted down this little piece of lead. This is probably a musket ball, and they pounded it into a little circle, and I don't know, they used it as a gaming chip or something. It looks like there's marks on it. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Perhaps they were using it as a, I don't know, poker chip or something. This is a 36 caliber musket ball, and I just dug it, and you can notice a little ring on it from where it was poured in a mold. They would have had a little mold on the end of some pliers. They would have put it together, poured some lead in, and it would have had this little ring around it, and they would have opened up the pliers, and the little ball would have just fallen right out, and they loaded it up and shoot it. Still digging this yard. It's been about an hour, and I got this. This is the bowl to a spoon, and this probably would have been used by someone at the fort as a, well, everyday mess spoon, but how it got out here, I have no idea. Musket balls galore today. I don't know, I've lost track. I don't know which one this is, but this is a 50 cal, and the one I found previously, the tiny one, was I think a 36 caliber. I've been going through it today. I've dug a bajillion holes in this nice man's yard, and I just pulled this out. That is a freaking mechanism to a musket. You can actually see the trigger right here. There's the trigger, and it would have gone like this. Or maybe, yeah, this. Oh my gosh, that is a musket. Here's the trigger guard. Oh my gosh. I wonder if the rest of the gun's down here, because recently, a few minutes ago, I found the ring that would have held the musket barrel onto the musket. In fact, I think I actually have it on me. Yeah. So here's two parts of the musket. So it would have gone like this. This ring would have gone down the barrel a ways, and the stock would have been back here. The sight would have been here, and the barrel would have came along here. I think the rest of the musket might be. I found the musket trigger there, the barrel piece there, and then right here, this is a buckle. That would have been a square buckle, probably to an ammunition sash or like a horse saddle, something like that. But it's a big wrought iron buckle. Here's a little piece that would have come down along here. It's kind of stuck up there, rusted in place. And there's another spoon bowl right next to the one I found 10 minutes ago. There may have been a kitchen here at one point, because this is the third spoon bowl I found. This isn't even a mess spoon, this is a serving spoon. I'm just now realizing I found 3 iron serving spoons here, so this is probably some sort of kitchen or something back in the day. So I haven't gotten everything, or I haven't even left yet, but here's the musket I found, and here's the 2 pieces. Apparently the homeowner told me that he found a bayonet while putting in the fencing, and considering I found these 2 right next to that fence, I'm guessing the bayonet he found would have gone to this musket. I'm guessing the entire thing was there, or it was pieces, or it was a shop where they were, I don't know, fixing things, and these were just extra pieces they had lying around. I don't know, because the fort encompassed a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm guessing there was outposts around the fort where they did certain stuff. Anyway, we're going to go over some of this cool stuff in a minute. I'm going to head out because it's kind of getting late, but I had a super fun day. Nearby to where I got the musket, I don't think I recorded it, but I found this as well, and I don't know if this is a piece to the musket. It's a little piece of brass and iron, and I think it might be, but it could also just be some random garbage. And then, of course, all the spoon handles, or spoon heads. I also didn't record this, but this is a lantern. It's falling apart, but it's a brass lantern fixture. You can see all those holes there to keep it from overheating, but the wick would have gone right through the center here, and it would have had a glass bulb around it. But that is another really, really dated piece. Probably from the war, but there's no telling for certain. It could also be later on. So yeah, I got a freaking 1820s musket. Look at that, Seminole War musket. Now, whether or not this belonged to the American troops or the Seminoles, probably the American troops, but you'll never know for sure. Now, what's tripping me out is usually the mechanisms for muskets and old rifles, like these rings, these were made of brass, and most of the rifles I've seen, this trigger guard and these pieces are all made of brass, and the barrel is iron, and the actual grain is wood. I don't think I've seen many of these guns that actually have just iron everything, but it could be that it was a cheap gun, mass-produced cheap gun given to one of the armies, either the Seminoles or the American troops. But I think it would have been a really cheap weapon and a mass-produced infantry weapon if it didn't have that brass on it. All right, so I'm all done, and here's the haul. I killed it today. Now, the first thing I want to go over is the stuff up here. I got 7 musket balls, 2 buttons. One of them is artillery and one of them is infantry, meaning one of them was an artillery or like cannon soldier, while the other one was infantry or just ground troops. And this one is actually the back of a button, but it's missing the dome and eagle itself. It's just the back. And then I also got a melted musket ball, but I don't count that. I got a little buckle. This would have gone to a soldier's uniform, likely either a buckle for a belt or a satchel for ammo, but it's definitely an old buckle. This was the coolest find of the day. It's a Seminole soldier's arrowhead that would have gone to an arrow fired at American troops. That is really rare. It's made of rolled copper, and that is one of the rarest things I've ever found. Next, I got a lantern. This is just most of a lantern mechanism. This is, again, probably Seminole War. Super busted up. A nice horse tack buckle. This would have gone to like a horse saddle or like a satchel bag for a horse. But these big buckles tend to go for like horse stuff, because, horses are big and they like to buck around and break stuff, so you gotta have big metal buckles. I got most of a musket. I got this little piece for the barrel, and then this mechanism right here, right nearby. Maybe the rest of the muskets there, I have no idea, but that is old. That is really cool too. A cavalry horseshoe, 3 serving spoons, and a little butter knife, and just a bunch of miscellaneous metal in items. I'm not sure what these are. I think this is actually part of a cannon fuse, if I'm not mistaken. It would have had a weird shape. I remember someone telling me something about this being a cannon fuse. It may or may not be, but just a bunch of weird brass stuff. It's super cool anyway. I had a super fun day of saving history today, and if you guys want me to come back, as always, just let me know, and I don't even care if you guys tell me not to. I'm going to come back anyway. Till then, you guys stay safe, stay adventurous, and make sure to get outside today and find something cool. Later.